Morning. Morning, Amira. Is the whole group?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
good.
together.
Okay, you are the only one asking questions or posting stuff. I'm really worried that your friends sitting next to you aren't doing a lot of work.
Moment, you understand?
Yes.
If you're not going to work hard, you are going to struggle. This is how it is. In grade 11, unless you getting like 98% maths without studying, you'll have to do your part. If you don't have any questions, it either means that you are getting 98, you understand all the work, or you are not doing well and not worrying about it either. So we have Amira, Muhammad, and Ibrahim online. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to remind you of the following. You have a task on number patterns. I'm not sure if we completed that. Did we complete that?
Number patterns, the last we did with you.
It was quadratic.
Yeah, quadratic.
Okay, we completed that. But you haven't done any, have you done your work in your textbook? Have you finished all the examples in the textbook?
I haven't finished all, but I did
Yeah.
most of it.
Okay, you don't, okay, you've done most of it. You don't have any questions.
Number patterns, no, it was just that one that I sent you.
Okay. Right. If you want more examples on number patterns, you can ask me, I'll get you a couple. Maybe I should just send you a couple of examples anyway to do. Harder
Yeah.
ones. So what you'll find, if you open a grade 12 exam paper, there will be one quadratic question in that paper, and it might be a difficult one. So I can't hear you in the background. Okay.
Sorry?
I can't hear if you're talking in the background.
Oh no, I think it's the other teacher. Should I mute myself?
Yeah, just mute yourself and you want to talk. Then you can. Okay, excellent. So number patterns is done. We are busy with a section called algebra. We haven't done any analytical geometry in writing a task at the end of the month that will include number patterns and analytical geometry. But we are busy with algebra. So we're going to try and finish most of the algebra and leave 2 lessons for analytical geometry. You'll probably only need 1 because the analytical geometry there's only 2 things that are added onto the grade 10 work. And if you can remember, analytical geometry was quite easy in grade 10. It's going to be as easy as that in grade 11. So it's not a big deal. The algebra is more, it's harder, it's difficult. So we're going to continue with that. If you have your assignment or task, you can always paste questions on your task and we can do that. But I don't think you've got your task yet. Okay, there's one question that Amira asked. This is called long division. And I'm not sure why you're asking this because it's not part of the syllabus. Okay, just unmute yourself.
I saw it in the textbook while it was under factorization.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about that. That's not part of the syllabus. It's called long division. In primary school, so for instance, I said you have to divide 313 with 314 with 3. How would you do that? Well, 314 divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 once. Okay. 3 times 1 is 3. Then I subtract that. I get 14. 3 goes into 14 into 1. It can't go into 1. And then I put a 10 there because 10 times 3 is 10. I subtract again, I get 4. 3 goes into 4 once. Remember that long division you did in primary school? And then you continue it with decimals. Who did that? You didn't do that. You used calculators, did you?
Yeah, we did do that.
Okay, this is exactly the same. So now they've got the following. 2x to the power of 4 minus 9x3 plus 21x squared minus 26x plus 12 must be divided by 2x minus 3. So there's Method. You don't have to worry about this. You're not going to be tested on this. Only next year we do something similar, but there's another way of doing it that's easier than the long division. This is one of the methods to get the factors. I'm going to divide the 2x under the 2x4, and that will give me x to the power of 3. So 2x to the power of 4 divided by 2x. You with me? It's just a method.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to multiply that back. Then I get 2x4, and then I multiply the 3x, the minus 3, or the x to the power of 3 with minus 3. I get negative 3x3. And then I'm going to subtract those things. The minute I subtract it, that becomes a negative and that becomes a positive. So I get 0 and negative 6x3. Negative 9x3 plus 3x3 gives me negative 6x3. Then I bring all of that down. The plus 21x squared minus 26x plus 12 is brought down. And then I start the process again. Okay, so get this done. I'm going to now divide that 2x underneath that negative 6x3. That gives me negative 3x squared. And then I multiply it back there and there. It's just a method. It's a dumb method. It takes a long time. Okay, first one, I get negative 6x3. You always get the same answer there. And then I multiply the negative 3x squared with negative 3, positive 9x squared. And then I subtract. So the signs changes. 21 minus 9 is what? Is 12x2. I bring the other terms down. And then I divide that underneath that. 2x underneath the 12x squared. So I get positive 6x. And then I multiply the 6x back into those two terms again, with those two terms. That gives me 12x squared, always the same answer. And a negative 3 times 6 is 18x. The signs changes because I'm subtracting. Sorry, that becomes a negative thing. So that is minus 26 plus 18 gives me negative 8x. Bring the 2 down. I divide the 2x underneath. It's a long process. I divide it underneath this, that negative 8x. I get negative 4. I multiply it back. I get negative 8x and negative 12. This was a 12, not a 2 that I brought down. 12. I multiply the negative 4 with negative 3, I get plus 12, and that gives me 0. So if you divide that with 2x minus 3, the answer is on top of that fraction. That part on top is the answer. I'm going to make the answer yellow. That's the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, you can look at the video again. It's not, you cannot be examined on this. You can get it in a test, but if you get it in a test, it's a mistake. It's not part of your syllabus. Okay.
Okay.
Have you done any completing the square? Who've done,
Like ever.
who has done completing the square?
Like in ever.
Ever?
Yeah, we did that.
Ibrahim?
I think I did. Yeah, I did that.
Mohammed?
I'm not too sure if I did that.
Okay. So I'm going to show you the following. We're going to solve x in 2 ways. Look at this first. Just going to copy this one. And Amira, you're going to tell me there's a couple of ways to do it. Just want to make sure that I'm doing it exactly the way that you are going to do it. Complete the square. We've done it here, haven't we? Huh? Did we do this?
No,
No.
we didn't do this.
Okay, right. So you must listen very carefully. They can ask you the following. They can ask you to solve x, or they can ask you to solve x by completing the square. This is just 3 marks. This is like 5 or 6 marks, depending on the sum. I'm going to show you both ways. Okay, so that's just factorization, isn't it? Okay. So if you can't factorize that, who of you have seen the following formula? X is minus b plus minus the root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. Who has seen that? All of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I'm just going to solve X by using the formula. This is called the quadratic formula. And this is what I'm going to do if they ask to solve X, because then they're not specifying how I should solve it. They just want me to solve X. Good. Can you do that? X equals what? Minus 11. You have to write all of this. Plus minus negative 11 squared minus 4 times a times 5 over 2 times 6. Okay. Please calculate that on your calculator. Do that. Give me two values. Everyone. Who of you's got one of those white or silver calculators?
I have it.
Okay, you know how to cheat on that calculator.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to write everything I've written, but then you can actually go to the equation function and the answer. Okay, this could have been factorized, so it's X is 1 or 5 over 6. You can get those answers by using the formula. You happy? Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Graham.
Got it.
All right. And Mohammed?
Got it.
You got it. Okay, excellent. I just want to change this formula because it's a basic factorization one. It's not difficult. We're going to change it in a minute. Okay, this is the one way of doing it. They could have asked you also to solve X by completing the square. All right, how do we do that? Okay, look at this. There's a couple of ways of doing it. And I want you to stop, Amira, if you're not doing it exactly the way I'm doing it. So I want to explain it the way that you planned it. I'm going to take the 5 and throw it to the other side of the equation. You also do that.
No, I think I know how to do this.
Mira?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to divide with 6. Look at that gap I'm making. That gap I'm making is because I want to add something. I want to add something on both sides of the equation. What will I be adding? No. Just mute yourself because I can't hear. I'm going to add what? I'm going to add b times a half square on both sides. B is negative 11 over 6. Look at that b value there. I'm going to times that. I don't divide it by 2. Timing it with half is easier. So that becomes negative 11 over 12 on both sides squared. So negative 11 over 2, negative 11 over 2. Then I'm adding on both sides. Why? Well, because this makes a perfect square, or I'm completing the square. That becomes x minus 11 over 2 squared. And the right-hand side, I'm just going to type into my calculator. So everyone type that into your calculator. What I want you to do, I want you to find a way that you can sit somewhere that you don't have people in the background making a huge racket. Is that correct? I don't think that's correct. Oh, it's 12, not 2. That's why. So that's 1 over 144. Now I'm taking the root on both sides. I'm taking the plus minus root of 1 over 144. And this becomes just x minus 11 over 12. So x minus 11 over 12 is plus minus a 12th. So x equal, I'm going to throw that term over. It's 11 over 12 plus minus 1 over 12. That becomes, if it's plus, it's 12 over 12, which is 1. Or when it's negative, it's 10 over 12, 11 minus 1, which is the same as 5 over 6. And then I get the same answer. Okay, unmute yourself. This is not easy. This is something you have to learn. This is important. Completing the square is important. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example to do on your own. That one. But this is something I can factorize. Why am I bothering with that? Really? Okay, anyway. So I want to make sure that we can factorize that. We can't just easily factor. I don't want it to be factorizing too easy. No, it doesn't. Okay, awesome. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do, number one, I want you to solve x. In other words, any method, solve x. You can either try and factorize it or do the formula quickly. On your own, you have 2 minutes. Take that equation and solve x. And then when you have an answer, you unmute yourself and give it to me. Okay, Ibrahim, first step, just help me out. What is the first thing that you will do?
You can use a formula.
Okay, but
When
can't
substitute
throw
the-
everything to the one side of the equation. You can either do that or you can throw it to the right-hand side. Who of you have thrown it to the right-hand side? Both of those are the same. I've just multiplied
Yeah.
with a negative. Who's using the right-hand side?
I did the right hand side.
Yeah, why? It's always good to have a positive what? X square value.
Mhm.
Okay, so I would also prefer, look, they'll give you the both the same answer. Doesn't matter. But that's a better, that's better to do it that way. Okay, so formula, please.
X equals to negative b plus minus root b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Okay, so it's negative 4 plus minus negative 4 squared minus 4 times a times c 2 times a. Answer, please. Come, brain. Give me 2 decimals. You get that?
Almost there. Answer is negative 2 plus root 14.
Yeah, but give me this.
0.58.
Amira, answer.
My answer is not working out, but I'm not sure why.
Okay, let's do that.
Wait. No, now I know why it's not working out. It's a stupid mistake.
I get 2,12. You get negative 0,79.
I got
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Now it's working out right.
Okay.
It's because I forgot the square
Yeah.
when I did it.
Okay. Last thing, you must also be able to solve x by completing the square. Right. So I have 4x minus 3x squared equals negative 5. So this is the same as negative 3x squared plus 4x equals negative 5. And I'm going to divide with negative 3 right through. Look what I'm doing. This is x squared minus 4 over 3x and 5 over 3. And then I'm going to add on both sides the following. B times a half. What is negative 4 over 3 times a half? What's that? Negative 2 over 3. You can type it in your calculator.
Yeah.
Negative
Negative
2
2
over
over
3.
3.
Negative 2 over 3. Then that becomes a perfect square. So x minus 2 over 3 squared. And then the right-hand side of the equation, I can type it in my calculator. Do that. I get 19 over 9.
Yeah, 19 over 9.
Yes.
Then I'm doing the plus minus root on both sides. What is the root of 19 over 9? It's plus minus the root of 19 over 3, because that 9 can jump out of there. And then I have x equals 2 over 3 plus minus root of 19 over 3. And that gives me 2 plus root of 19 over 3, or 2 minus root of 19 over 3. Those are my answers. And if you type them into your calculator, you get exactly the same as those decimals. Okay. Right. So we have done the following. We have used the quadratic equation. We have completed the square. The next part of your algebra is to do equations with roots in them. You have to go and practice this. So if you look at your textbooks, there's going to be difficult examples with other P's and Q's. Try and do them. Right, next stuff. So we're going to do equations with roots. I muted you, so if you want to talk, then you must just unmute yourself. Equations with roots. Okay. You haven't done this yet, I don't think. Just unmute yourself and tell me if you've done equations with roots in them.
No.
No. That's the next part. Normally, look, I don't know if that is exactly the next part in your textbook, but that's normally what we find next. After you've done, because you've learned how to do use the formula. So I'm going to put a root into the equation. So I find an easy one. I can't start with a difficult one. Look at. I mean, choose. Okay. So it might look like something like this. Root of x minus 2 equals 2 minus x. Now we want to get rid of that root. To get rid of that root, we're basically going to square both sides. If I square both sides, that root is cancelled. And the right-hand side, I'm just going to square. Can I say yes to that? Are you happy with that? I'm just squaring both sides. So if you take any root and you square it, and there's any value in there, that will just give me that value. The root and the squaring cancels one another. Okay, so now I have x minus 2, and I'm going to Multiply that out. That's 4 minus 4x plus x squared. You have to be able to multiply quickly like that. I'm going to throw everything to the right. So that is x squared minus 5x plus 6. Oh, very careful. Look what I'm doing. I'm factorizing that. And this will factorize. X. Factors of 6 that gives me 5. Oh, well, 3 and 2. Minus. 6 and 1 also gives 5, but 6 and 1 doesn't have the same sign. So x is 3 or x is 2. But interesting, when we square both sides and then refactorize it back, it is possible to bring an answer into the sum. In other words, import an answer that's not valid. Let me quickly, before you finish that sum, just do this quickly. If I tell you that x equals 6, and I square both sides, then x squared equals 36. Now, if I take the root again, then x is plus minus the root of 36. So now x is 6 or negative 6. But I started only with one answer, now I got two answers. So if you square both sides and root it again, then you might incorporate the answer that wasn't part of the initial sum. So you have to go and test if both of these answers are valid. So I'm going to put a 3 into this equation on top. 3 minus 2 is 1. The root of 1 is 1. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 1 is not equal to negative 1. So this one is not applicable. This is not an answer. So just not applicable or no answer. Then I'm going to test 2. You have to test both answers to see if they work. If x is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, root of 0 is 0, 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 is equal to 0, so that one is correct. So therefore, x is only 2. Right, have a look at that. So I squared both sides to get rid of the root, but then I found out I incorporated an answer into the sum that's not valid, so I had to cancel it. Awesome. Let's do another one. Good. This one's going to be slightly harder. I have 6 minus the root of x plus 2 equals x plus 2. It looks like almost the same, exactly the same as the previous one. It's just slightly different. Okay. So now what? I need to get that root on my own, on its own. So I'm going to take the root and just throw it over to that side. So that is root x plus 2. Then I'm throwing all the terms to the left, which gives me what? 6 minus 2, which is 4 minus x. Just quickly connect with me and say that's fine. You understand what I've done?
Can you just explain that first step again?
Okay, awesome. That's what I want you to do, just to interrupt me. So what I've done is, I'm going to delete it. I didn't want to work with a negative in front of my root. So I took this whole thing, the negative root x plus 2, and I just threw it over. So the sign became positive. So that becomes positive x plus 2. Then the 6 was on the left-hand side of the equation. So I threw the x over, it became minus x. I threw the 2 over, it became minus 2. So now I have 6 minus 2, which is 4 minus x, and that root on that side. Is that better?
Yes.
Now I'm going to square both sides. If I square the root, it becomes x plus 2. If I square that side, I get 16 minus 8x plus x squared. I hope you can do that product exactly the same way. You don't have to write out the brackets twice anymore because that takes a lot of time. So now I have x squared minus 9x plus.
How did you get?
How did you get 8?
Yeah, 8x.
Okay.
8.
Okay, I'll show you now. Okay, I'm throwing all the terms to the left. Happy? Yes or no?
Yeah, just that 8.
Yes, that 8. Okay. You never learned how to multiply quickly. Okay. No problem. I'll show you how to get that 8 in a minute. Let's just factorize this. X 14's factors are 7 and 2. I owe you 7 rand. I owe you another 2 rand. So I owe you 9 rand. Okay. Minus 7 times minus 2 is 14. Minus 7 with minus 2 is negative 9. X is 7 or 2. Happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, test both answers. Let's put a 7 in. If I put a 7 in there, 7 plus 2 is 9. The root of 9 is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. 7 plus 2 is 9. 3 and 9 is not the same. So that one's wrong. Let's test 2. I put 2 in that root. 2 plus 2 is 4. Root of 4 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 equals 4. That one works. X is 2. Right. Just copy that or make a screenshot or something. It's important. And then I'll just quickly do some revision on products with you.
Okay, I took a screenshot.
Okay, look at this. Obviously, x minus 4. If you have this, that's a difference between two squares. Then I only have to multiply the first one with the first one and the last one with the last one. Are you happy with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this shortcut method you can do. Then if I have a square, so if I have, let's say, 2x plus 3 squared, then I square the first term. That is 4x squared. Then I multiply these two terms with one another. So that is 2x times 3, and then I double the answer. So I multiply it with another 2. And that is 2 times 3 times 2 is 12. And I just put the x together with that. And then I square the last term again, plus 9. So there's a lacquer way to do it, where you can never make a mistake. Show you again. You're going to do it with a calculator. We're going to do 2 or 3, and then I'm going to give you hard ones, and you're going to get it right like in one shot. Let's say I have negative 3p squared plus 5r squared. The first term squared is 9p4. I'm going to multiply negative 3 with 5. Okay, actually what we're doing, I'm going to show you, what you should do and how I do it. You should multiply negative 3p squared with 5r and double the value, or multiply it with 2. That's how you should do it. But how I do it is as follow. I just take the numbers. I just take negative 3 times 5 times 2. What's that? That's negative 30. And then I just add all the unknowns, p squared r. So that is negative 30 p squared r. And then I square the last term. 5 squared is 25, r squared. Would you be able to do that? So I go to my calculator. I don't even do it in my head. I do negative 3 times 5 times 2 in my calculator. Negative 3 times 5 times 2. I get negative 30. And then I just add all the unknowns to that. Now you can do this one. X over 3 plus what? 5y squared over 8 squared. You can do that one. That's nothing. Why? I just square the first term. That is x squared over 9. I go to my calculator. I type in the first value, which is a third, not 3. It's 1 over 3. I times that with 5 over 8. And I times that with 2. Go and do that on your calculator. You'll find that it's 5 over what? 12. 5 on top, 12 at the bottom. Then I put all the unknowns. I just add all the x's and y's. Okay, there's an x on top and there's a y squared on top. So that's my middle term. Plus 5 over 12 with an x and a y squared. And then I square the last term, which is 25y4 over 6,4. Bang. You can also do that with your calculator if you want to. It's not difficult. Amira?
Yeah, I'm putting it in now.
You've never learned this in grade 10, did you? This is what you do when you do products. in grade-
No,
Not. Okay, but this is a
we
complicated.
never.
So let's go back to that easy one that you didn't understand. If I had 4 minus x squared, I do 4 square, which is 16. I'll multiply the 4, I times it with the minus 1 in front of the x, I times it with 2. 4 times minus 1 times 2 is negative 8. I just add the unknown to that, which is x. And then I square the last one, which is x squared. So now I've showed you how to work with roots in an equation. Okay, I want to give you one last one. I want to find one that's slightly harder. Okay, just this last one. And then we're going to do something new. I have now x plus 3 root x plus 2 equals 2. Okay, the first step is I want to get the root on its own. 3 root x plus 2 equals 2 minus x. That you're all happy with. Now, I am not going to divide the 3 away, because then I get 2 minus x over 3. And then you have to square that, and that becomes difficult to square. So that is not an option. It is not wrong. It's just too hard. So I'm just going to square both sides now. Okay, let's do that right-hand side first. 2 squared is 4. 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, double it, minus 4x. And then minus x times minus x is plus x squared. Okay, and then I'm going to square 3, which is 9. And that square is going to cancel that root, which makes it x plus 2 in a bracket, because I still have to multiply that. Then I get 9x plus 18 equals 4 minus 4x plus x squared. I'm taking all the terms to the right-hand side simply because my x squared is positive. X squared negative 13x, and 4 minus 18 is negative 14. And then I'm factorizing that, knowing that I have to test both answers. 14 and 1 minus and plus. X is 14 or negative 1. Okay, now I have to test both answers. I'm going to put a 14 in. 14 plus 3 root of 14 plus 2, which is 16. Root of 16 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 14 is not 2. That one's out. Now the negative 1 is going to work. Okay, let's make some space to test that. Negative 1 plus root of 3 root minus 1 plus 2. What's that? That's 2. And 2 equals 2. So that answer is correct. Therefore, x is only negative 1. And 90% of the time, you'll find that it's only one answer. Why? You only had x to the power of 1 at the beginning. So you only have one answer. Remember, your highest exponential value right at the beginning will give you an indication of how many answers you'll have. Good. We have done equations with roots in them, and you need to find them with your quadratic equations. It's going to be in the same chapter, and you'll have to do some exercises on that. We're not doing exponents and roots and surds at the moment. We are doing roots within a quadratic equation. I want to show you one more thing today. It's part of quadratic equations. There's a lot of them. Okay, this is substitution. There's a method of substitution that you'll have to learn, which helps you to do certain sums that you can't do. I'm going to give you an example here. Let's look at this example. I have 4 bracket 3x squared plus x plus 1, and that minus 10 times 3x squared. This is an easy example. minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1 over 3x squared plus x equals 7. And I'm going to say solve x, and this must be 7 marks or something. Now look at this. I'm just going to revert to something much easier and then come back to the sum. Say, for instance, I had 4p squared minus 10 over p squared equals 2. The normal thing would be to multiply right through with p squared. Then I get 4p to the power 4 minus 10 equals 2p squared. But factorizing something to the power 4 is quite difficult. Okay, not in this instance, but normally something to the power 4 is difficult. So then I do a substitution method, sometimes called a K method. I'll show you how to do that. Where you make the sum easier and then you can revert back to the difficult sum. So now I'm going to look at that equation and say, look, this looks really difficult. So I'm going to find something that is fairly similar everywhere and make it something like a K. So I can see in this equation, I'm going to let 3x squared plus x equal k. So I'm just going to substitute that part of the equation. Then the equation looks like this. Therefore, the equation now is 4. And then instead of 3x squared plus x, I can write k plus 1. And then minus 10. And then I have 3x squared plus x, which is k again, minus 1 over k. And that is 7. Now I can multiply with k right through. Then I get 4 times k times that k plus 1 bracket. And just minus 10 k minus 1. And then I get 7k. Just tell me if you understand what I've done now. I multiplied each one of those 3 terms with k. Do you understand why this k is gone? If you multiply anything with its denominator, you lose the denominator. So I multiplied k over 1. I multiplied with 10 and then k minus 1 over k. So those two just cancelled. Now I can just multiply that out. I get 4k squared plus 4k minus 10k plus 10 equals 7k. I'm going to take everything to the left. I get 4k squared. 4k minus 10k minus 7k is what? Minus 13k. Plus 10 equals 0. Okay, are you with me, students? Mira and
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
okay, now I'm going to factorize. This is like a lot of marks, eh? Then I get 4k, k, factors of 10, 10, no. What the factors of 10 will give me 13 here? I'm going to guess that I'll have a 2 and a 5 there, because 5 and an 8 gives me 13. If you can't do this, you can always use the formula. K equals minus b plus minus the root of delta over 2a. If you can't factorize, this is minus minus equals 0. K is 5 over 4, or k is 2. Right, but k is nowhere in the sum. I incorporate it. So now I have to go back where k is and substitute it. So now I do this. I say, if k is 5 over 4, then 3x squared plus x equals 5 over 4. Because 3x squared plus x is k. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Just have a look. Look, I brought this into the sum. I said the k value is 3x squared plus x. So now I have a k value, which is 5 over 4. So now I can put 5 over 4 back into the equation, that blue one. And then I get that. Look at these two blue things. They're the same. Instead of a k, I'm writing 5 over 4. Happy?
Yeah.
Ibrahim?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Right, I'm going to multiply with 4 through. 12x squared plus 4x is 5. 12x squared plus 4x minus 5 is 0. Now I'm going to guess the factors, or I'm going to use the formula. 4x, 3x. I don't know. Is that correct? Or 6 or 2? 15 is not going to work. I need to get a 4. So 15 and 4 is not going to work. I think those factors are wrong. Who of you can find it quicker than I am? I can also guess 6 and 2. 5, 1. 10 minus. Okay. But this was difficult. So you probably use the formula here. Then x equals minus 5 over 6. Or x equals half. Almost finished. Because I also have to do what? Let's do it here. I don't have a lot of space left. Let's just make this smaller. Let's just play around with space here. Let's take this one up next to it. I also have to do the following. If k equals 2. Remember, there's 2 answers for k, so there's 2 different solutions. Then 3x squared plus x equals 2. Then 3x squared plus x minus 2 is 0. And then I factorize that again. How many value answers do I have to get? I have to get 4. Because it was x to the power 4, basically. If I multiplied all of that out. Then I have x there. 2, 1, plus, no. Plus here, minus there. But you will use the formula if you can't. Right, so x equals 2 over 3 or x equals -1. And there's 4 answers. That is a huge sum. Right, so now you need to go to your textbook. You need to find some stuff on completing the square and the formula. You need to find some quadratic equations where you use the roots. We have to test the answer. You have to find substitution values. In other sums where you substitute stuff. Show you one more, and then we're finished. Happy?
Yes.
Okay, so let's combine these 2 things we've just learned. So I'm going to do this. I have the root of 3x minus 1 plus 1 equals 6 over the root of 3x minus 1. So now I have problems because squaring both sides is a chaos. That will be really difficult. I can take the roots all to one side, but that will just make it harder to square. So I'm just going to do this. Let that root thing, which is buggering everything, equal k. So therefore the sum looks like this. K plus 1 equals 6 over k. K is not allowed to be 0 then, because it's undefined. I'm going to multiply with k right through. Then I have k squared plus 1k equals 6. K squared plus k minus 6 is 0. Then I factorize this. Then I have k, 3, 2 plus minus. K is -3 or 2. If k is -3, if k equals -3, then I have root of 3x minus 1 equals -3. And if you're sharp, you can immediately say this is not applicable. Why? There's no solution, or you can say no solution. Why? You can never have a root of something and get a negative answer. Never. You can't root something and get a negative answer. So it's no solution. If you didn't know that, you would have done this. You would have squared both sides. Man, And then I throw the 1 over, I get 3x equals 10. And then x equals 10 divided by 3. And then you would have tested the answer by putting it in somewhere. There. If you put it in here, you'll find out that that's not the same. So this is no solution. So if I put it in there, I get 10 minus 1. 3 times 10 over 3 is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. The root of 9 is 3. 3 is not equal to 10 over 3, so it wouldn't work. So now I do the next part. If k equals 2, then I put 2 into that thing. Therefore, root of 3x minus 1 equals 2. I square both sides. 3x minus 1 is 4. 3x equals 5. X equals 5 divided by 3. Let's test that answer by putting it in here. Root of 3x minus 1 is k. So, the root of 3 times 5 over 3 minus 1 must be 2. That cancels. 5 minus 1 is 4. The root of 4 is 2. 2 equals 2. So that works. So that answer is correct. Therefore, x equals 5 over 3. That's the only answer that works. Quickly have a look at that. You happy? Not yet, because you haven't tried some of these. Screenshot that. You have a lot of...
It's all right. That's not bad.
Okay, all I need you to do, there's not enough time to do the whole sum. I'm just going to ask the following. I'm going to write this sum down. 3x squared plus x minus 3 equals 0. What are you going to make k? What are you going to substitute there? What are you going to use? You're going to say let what equal k?
3x squared plus x will equal to k.
3x squared plus x. Then the sum looks like this. K minus 1 equals 1 over k minus 3. And that is 0. And therefore, k is not allowed to be 3, because then it's undefined. And then you can just do this formula, quadratic formula, by multiplying with k minus 3 right through. So I have k minus 1, which I'm going to multiply with k minus 3. And then I have, oh, this is not equal, this is a plus. Plus 1 equals 0. And then I just solve k. Get two answers, put them both back into that equation and solve x. You need to find some of those examples. There's a lot of them in your textbook as well. You got 3 things to do for next week. Equation and completing the square. Equations with roots in them. And substitution or k method. Okay.
If you don't mind, could you just send us a list of the things that we have to do on the group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I don't know the pages in your textbook, okay? Right.
No, it's okay. You can just tell us like the names and then we'll find the pages,
Topic.
the topics.
Really
Do
fine.
that now. Have a nice day. If you have any questions, remember, have your questions ready like Amira did. She just texted them to me this morning or WhatsApped them. You can still use this lesson time. Now we have like 5 minutes where you can ask questions. Okay, I want you to stay online quickly. Don't go off. I just want to test if you get this message. Because I can't see if you've got this message. I sent a message on the math group now.
Yeah.
Okay, we all got it.
You all got it. Okay, so now I can actually send the stuff that you asked. Okay, if you don't have any questions, you might leave. You're allowed to leave the group. And then I'll
Okay,
start-
on the group, the things that we just need you to send, if you don't mind, is the topics and the recording of this.
the recording link. I
Yeah,
couldn't hear that. Okay, I'll do that. All right.
okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Bye-bye.